Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and a lot of people think I'm anti-Ethereum, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I am pro-Ethereum, I'm pro-Bitcoin, I'm pro all digital assets on a level playing field where we can let capitalism run free. But there are powers that be that have not allowed that to happen, and there continue to be a lot of bad guys who are trying to prevent there from being a level playing field, and until then, we will call out the hypocrisy on this channel because that's what we do. All we want is there to be some truth in crypto, and there hasn't been for years now. It's been built up on one big lie. Well, against the backdrop of the fact that I like Ethereum, I actually own some Ethereum, folks. I've told you 1,000 times on this channel. Wanted to let you know one of my sponsors is Kava Network. That's at Kava_platform. You can look at the top of the description of this video and you will see a link where you can go and give them a follow on Twitter. The Kava Network Ethereum Code Chain Alpha is going even better than expected. 30 plus Pioneer protocols committed. 158,000 plus fast and cheap EVM transactions processed, 355K blocks made. Next week, the Ethereum Code Chain beta launches. Stay tuned. Kava, Ethereum Code Chain beta launch, April 5th. All right, now you have it. XRP's price can nearly double if these levels are cracked. XRP's price breached its 3-month consolidation pattern on the 27th of March, indicating the start of a massive run-up. Investors can jump on this bandwagon and ride to crucial levels before booking profits. This outlook makes sense considering the recent bullish narrative that has evolved with Bitcoin. XRP's price ready to rumble. XRP's price has set up 3 lower lows, 2 higher lows since 21st December 2021, which when connected using trend lines resulted in the formation of a symmetrical triangle. This pattern forecasts a 46% upswing, obtained by adding the distance between the first swing high and low to the breakout point. There you have it, folks. I don't know if they're right, but I hope they are. Now, when Flare, we haven't talked about Flare in a long time on this channel. I've been giving them some breathing room, let them do their thing. The team is aiming for a 4th of July 2022 to be confirmed in mid-June. Subject to audit. Flare is not just enabling early L1 tokens to be used with smart contracts, it's bringing advanced cross-chain interoperability to all networks, and they've got a roadmap here. Now let's get into it, folks. This is an interesting thought right here by Tipsy Tiger. Bitcoin Ethereum maxis have got used to front-running the SEC. That stops with ESG, especially for Bitcoin if it stays on proof of work. Warning shots were fired. After the reg by enforcement, they didn't listen then, and they are not listening now. History will not repeat or rhyme this time. When this finally takes hold and you see institutions selling and retail can't keep up, remember you were warned. Those refusing to talk about it or stamping all over Chris Larson for suggesting upgrades are the ones that do not understand what is coming, or they have other motives. I think he might be onto something there. Now, we've got another person in Congress who has just exposed themselves, folks. Cynthia Loomis. I always had my feeling that maybe she was a Bitcoin maxi or Ethereum maxi, but now I guess she saw Warren Davidson coming out as her coming out party too. I believe that this is not a hill that they want to be on. I think they're making a huge mistake because it shows them as Congress people as picking winners and losers when they should be fighting for the industry as a whole. They're making a mistake, and we are now put in a position where we have to expose the hypocrisy of what they're doing. I don't want to be doing it, but I'm going to do it until we get our level playing field. Again, that is all we ever wanted was a level playing field, but now it looks like it's not just the SEC. We have Congress, the media, everybody trying to prevent a level playing field for Ripple and XRP, and so we've been forced in this position. And so we will not stop until we get a level playing field. Can someone direct me to her tweet about SEC regulatory capture in the Ethereum free pass Ripple case over the last year? We've been talking about this for a year. She has been silent on defending what's going on with Ripple versus the SEC, silent on any of the obvious things we've proven, the timeline, the Ethereum videos. She's been completely silent. But the second that Chris Larson has the gall to say anything about a change to Bitcoin, she is immediately mad and angry and defiant. She says, this is a disingenuous play for federal regulatory capture. Isn't regulatory capture what we've been saying about what the SEC has been doing with Ethereum and XRP and all this? And she hasn't said a word. Don't fall for it. Let them compete. What do you mean let them compete? We've been begging, and you've seen it, Cynthia Loomis. You've seen our tweets. You've seen our timelines. You've seen the video. You've seen the evidence we've shown. We've talked about regulatory capture. We've asked for a level playing field and letting competition happen. You haven't said a word. Only when it's Bitcoin. You have now outed yourself. Now, and I said, are you still wondering why not one person in Congress has called for an investigation of the Ethereum free pass or the disguised Ethereum whales from the ICO? JV brought this video to our attention. Let's watch what Cynthia Loomis has to say here. I'm going to go to the, wrong thing. I'm going to go to the part where she starts talking.
By a person or an entity, and
there's something to be concerned with, and do we need oversight so that people aren't left holding the bag for some of these things, whether they do or not? I'm not predicting one way or another.
I do think that Bitcoin is here to stay, and I think a lot of the others are not. The fact that Bitcoin is fully decentralized and that some of these others were issued by a person or an entity that kept a large block of the coin for themselves and then issued others to participate means they look more like a security than a commodity.
Now, remember, we still don't know who the disguised whales are in the Ethereum pre-sale. Cynthia Loomis has never called for an audit of that. She's running on the assumption, A, that Bitcoin is not centralized in ownership. She doesn't know. And B, that Ethereum is too. Why is she not calling for an audit of the Ethereum pre-sale? Why has she never made an issue out of that? Because it could very well be centralized in its ownership. I believe it is. But she doesn't say a word about it. Why? That's the question. Why? And then, of course, you have our old buddy Warren Davidson, who, again, I agree with most of what these people believe. That's the irony here. I didn't want to be focusing on them. They're the ones that outed themselves, not me. I've been working for years to provide legal clarity, including to the SEC, for all digital assets, and will continue. Well, then my question, Warren, is why are you so quick to defend Bitcoin? You've listened. You've just sat there on the fence and you've listened on the Ripple thing. You sat down with John Deaton. What have you done? When have you ever come out and emphatically fought for what's going on with Ripple in the SEC case? Never. You're literally pissed off about the idea of Chris Larson coming and having to say anything about Bitcoin. Where is that veracity when it comes to defending what is being done to Ripple? It hasn't been there for a reason. Now, and I said, and then they had this tweet came out today. Well, Congressman Warren Davidson at 2019, look at all the people he's sandwiched between at this blockchain conference. He's got Mike Novogratz, Vitalik Buterin. This guy, I think, is CTO of Coinbase. I think he's with Andreessen Horowitz. Don't quote me, but I think he is. And then you've got, let's see who else. Meltem Demirors, remember that name. Warren Davidson, right beside Joseph Lubin. But let's look at Meltem Demirors, however you say her name. Remember this tweet? I do. This is when Barry Silbert said, what if there was one company that was behind most of the Bitcoin energy usage FUD? Now that would make for a sensational story for somebody to write. And Meltem Demirors says starts with RIP, ends with PLE. And then Brad Garlinghouse said it's beyond flattering that you think. So you see what's going on here, folks? You see how all these people are aligned? Now, JV makes quite an interesting point here that I was thinking myself. Hey, John Deaton, do you think Warren Davidson is actually going to do something about ETHgate and the conflicts of interest with the SEC? Or do you think he met with you just to gather some intel? That one sent up a red flag with me when I read that. And John Deaton replied to me because I was asking him if he had any updates from any of these congressmen that he's been meeting with. He says, I think John is being a diplomat here, and I understand. I'm preparing specific inquiries and will ask the oversight committees to forward those very specific inquiries to the SEC. It shouldn't be an issue because all we're asking for is to find out whether ethical opinions or guidance was sought prior to specific actions. Okay? And then I said this, because you've seen this video. Half of this is Brad Garlinghouse, Joseph Lubin's being a smart aleck asking about XRP sales, and Brad Garlinghouse says, well, wait a minute, what have you sold? In other words, we've been completely transparent. You haven't been transparent at all. And then Joseph Lubin shut up right quick. Then we've got at the tail end of this, of course, his disguised whales talk. And I said, think about this. We have a sitting congressman and a sitting congresswoman that are outraged by a proposal to change Bitcoin code, but have absolutely no issue with all of this, at all with this. Warren Davidson and Cynthia Loomis. Houston, we have a problem in the United States of America. Now, I'm going to let you watch this one again because it's one of my favorites. Think about, I said the same thing. We have a sitting congressman and a sitting congresswoman. Think about this. They're out, as you watch this, think about it. They're outraged at what Chris Larson proposed for Bitcoin, but they don't express any emotion about this, America. Watch this.
And honored by colleagues as the man who went to the Securities and Exchange Commission and blew the whistle on Bernie Madoff and his $50 billion fraud.
How many times did you send material to the SEC?
May 2000, October 2001, October, November, and December 2005, then again June 2007, and finally April 2008. So 5 separate SEC submissions.
But something did happen. Corruption. They were meeting, remember this, they were meeting with their previous clients while at the SEC. Clients with very strong interests in outcomes that they ruled over in their government posts. Hinman even continued to earn $15 million from his previous law firm the whole 3 years he was at the SEC. You're either a horrible lawyer who can't see the conflict of interest, or you don't care because you're horribly corrupt. So you've got the skills or the moral compass, but you can't do this and have both. And when you're pulling in $5 million a year, odds are it's not the skills they're missing. And that is the bigger story of what is going on with the SEC and Ripple. It's not about cryptocurrency. It's not about about Ripple. It is about the SEC, specifically corruption and regulatory capture.
A person can buy from any number of different identities. We may limit.
You don't have to see that again, but you get it. Now, we're not done yet. Let me show you this. I went through Warren. I'm sure he's going to block me today. I went through Warren Davidson's likes on his profile, and look at this. This is what Warren Davidson liked. Plan is obvious. Social attack, concern, troll, proof of work. In other words, Warren David obviously likes what this guy's saying. So they think that we're just socially attacking proof of work, but because we're trying to hurt proof of work. No, the people that have been hurt are the people that are XRP holders for years now. We've been attacked. We've had crypto media attack it. We've had the CNBC. Every time they go on there, it's Bitcoin, Ethereum. And then they put Mike Novogratz on there to scratch his head and act like he doesn't know why XRP would go up and to tell everybody that he shorted it. Okay? This has been a constant drum that's gone on for years now. And Warren Davidson has no problem with it. He's only concerned when Bitcoin's being attacked. He thinks that we're somehow, he obviously agrees with this guy. So now they think they're going to legally attack, regulate proof of work into submission in the EU and the US, market attack, shitcoin flipping. What coin's he talking about there? Because Warren Davidson apparently likes what he's saying. You see what's going on? We have crypto, we have Bitcoin, these Bitcoin maxi ideologues that are in Congress, and they're driving this, these proof of work ideologues that are driving our policy instead of working for a level playing field. They're riding fences is what they're doing. And I'll show you that in a minute too. And then Digital Perspectives, Brad Combs made a good point. He said, I wonder if Tom Emmer, the only congressman to publicly state that XRP is not a security, could sit down with Warren Davidson and help him understand that XRP is not a security. Look at this.
Brad, thank you so much. It's funny. You said we've moved on past Silk Road. Yeah, it's a long time ago, but there's a lot of members of Congress that still think of this in terms of Silk Road. Yeah. And when you say over 2 years, first off, my position's very clear. XRP is not a security, all right? But even if you want to do this, you want to have this discussion, the SEC, my frustration, as you probably have heard very directly, you brought up in a very nice way. Maybe you should be doing this job and I should be doing that one, because I'm not going to be so nice. Over 2 years is not only a problem, it is absolutely unacceptable.
And by the way, Warren Davidson did not follow me before he outed himself. He only followed me afterwards. So I guess they figured that we're all, as long as we're all docile and we believe all the fence riding means they're somehow on our side, that we're fine. But now he wants to follow me because he sees that we realize what's going on here. I looked this up and I said this. I said, I'm afraid all these politicians have appeared to be pro-crypto and they're really just Bitcoin, Ethereum shills. They'll hear you out about the SEC versus Ripple, but there will be no action because they're either paid for or in a Bitcoin, Ethereum religion already. So I looked up the Urban Dictionary because what they are is fence right. Well, that's what they've been doing. Now they're not because they've been exposed. But what they've been doing is being fence riders because they were disguising themselves. Fence rider, someone who will say anything to avoid rocking the boat. They will go against their own morals and standards to make statements, to please others. They shouldn't be trusted, and confiding in them isn't a good idea. They are liked by many due to the fact that they always have good things to say, but are not trusted by the smart ones who have figured them out. Fence riders are phony butt kissers. We all know a few. Most are politicians. Does that sound like anybody we know? Bloomberg Crypto, in one of the largest crypto industry attacks ever, hackers stole nearly 600 million from Ronin Bridge that connects different blockchains. And then Binance says following the security breach that occurred on the Ronin network, all deposits and withdrawals on Ronin have been suspended. Folks, if you don't have a Ledger Nano S, I recommend having one. I use them actively myself. I'll put a link to this to get one in the top of the description of this video. They're only like 40 or 50 bucks. No big deal. And I'm going to end with this. Charles Gasparino weighed in, and I think that this is really a downplay of what's going on. And by the way, this BitBoy ETHgate is much ado about nothing. Talk about being wrong. Wowzers. That is a joke of a statement right there. Interesting thread here for the XRP community. My 2 cents as a dumb reporter watching the regulatory fallout. SEC loves to set limits. The government wants crypto reined in and controlled. It found a target, albeit an imperfect one, in the XRP sales go after Ripple. Man, that is tamping down what's really going on here, if there ever was tamping down. What's going on here is regulatory capture. What's going on here is picking winners and losers. What's going on here is the SEC meeting behind closed doors with people aligned with Bitcoin and Ethereum and planning what they did to get Bitcoin and Ethereum out from under securities laws and to leave the rest of crypto in purgatory intentionally so that they could create a monopoly. That's what's going on here. And to call it anything else is just not true. And I'm not saying I think Charles Gasparino has fought the good fight. I'm not saying that he's being disingenuous. I think he's trying to be a little political on this thing and not get too deep in the weeds, and I get it. It's not for everybody. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that what has gone on stinks to high heaven, and everybody knows it that's listening to my